For a lot of men to properly function in society, one of our ultimate needs is respect. When a man feels like he's not respected, he doesn't feel valued, especially in relationships. If a woman loves a man but she doesn't respect him, doesn't see that as love. For a man's currency of love, it's respect. You've seen relationships in which you've seen women, they don't like the man that they're with, but they respect him and he's happy. Then I've also seen other relationships in which the woman may love him, but she doesn't respect him and the relationship is terrible. But even outside of romantic relationships, I think if men don't feel respected, they don't feel valued. And that was a huge stumbling block I went through in my life, because in the beginning of my life, I didn't have much guidance, because of my circumstance. I grew up with a single mother household. I knew my father, but he was in and out of my life. And because of the environment I was raised in, I was very insecure. And because I have a natural tendency to want to respect people generally, I'm not saying I'm the best at it. I'm not saying that, I'm perfect and, I don't have my own flaws. I have a lot of flaws, but my main thing is that I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, regardless of how they act, look, whatever, to prove me wrong. Because even though I may assume something of you because of how you look or how you come off, I at least want to give you the opportunity to prove me wrong. And I understand that people come from very complex situations and lifestyles, and I may not know the complete picture of why they do what they do. But as far as myself, in my early years, I didn't know how to dress, especially living in sunny South Florida, which the temperatures can range anywhere from 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 106 on some worse days. And I didn't have any vehicles, so what I would do is I would ride the bus and bike everywhere. So I would tend to wear clothing that was very boy-like. I would always be wearing a t-shirt and gym shorts. And for years, I was always clowned by people around me, like, how come you never wear pants? You wear the same, wear faded out clothes and everything like that. And that was traumatic to me because of where I was at that time. I was struggling in life. I expected people to just naturally understand why I did what I did. But I learned through a lot of mentoring and really seeking help that people are not going to respect you just because you want respect. Some of the most respectable people on the planet are people who are respected because of what they've accomplished, what they've sacrificed, and what they've added to society. And I think for a lot of men, we want things that we don't qualify for. So for example, going back to myself, if I'm not dressing right, if I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm always broke, busted, and disgusted, if I don't know how to properly relate to people, I can't expect people to respect me. And I was in a little dilemma in which I was always upset, why don't people see the way I see myself or the person I know I'm supposed to be? Because I would do that to other people. I could look at somebody and be like, okay, I know you're supposed to be this way, so I'm gonna, kind of interact with you in the person I see that you're supposed to be. But again, a lot of people are not like that. They show respect off of people based off what they get. And it wasn't really until I started dressing better and I started having a bit more sense of urgency with my life, as like, what am I gonna do? I gotta accomplish something. I gotta pursue a goal. Is when the respect started changing for people. And even recently, I found myself, I was reverting back to that old mindset I have, because the thing is with circumstance, when trauma happens or life happens, a lot of times we can revert back to the state of mind that we developed in those unfortunate circumstances. And I was talking with my mentor, and it was pretty harsh. Like, even me, I sometimes, God help me with my pride. He was just telling me, I see a lot of times that, you desire respect, but what have you done to deserve it? Because respect is not a privilege. No one has to give you respect. People can, you give you respect as a human being. But as someone someone you honor and look up to, and want to be like, or maybe you inspire them, that comes from your own diligence and work ethic and things that you've accomplished or done. Like, for example, getting your master's degree or PhD, or becoming a successful businessman or artist or entrepreneur, things of that nature. That gains people respect. People are not going to respect you just because you want it. And that was a bitter pill to swallow for myself, because I found that one point in my life I was moving away from that kind of victim mentality. But then sometimes life will try to cause you to revert back into that mindset. And I had to realize very quickly that desiring respect without any work to show for respect is not going to work. Women won't like you just because you're a nice guy and because, you know, you have a lot of potential. Especially now, I'm about to be in my 30s. And, you know, dating at this age, women who are intentional about what they want out of life, they're not just going to be with you because they like you or they find you attractive. It's more so, where are you going? And do you have proof to show that you're actually going somewhere? Because with my original Brooklyn Tokyo channel, I remember when I was initially gaining momentum, I started realizing people were treating me different because I actually made an accomplishment. I got over 100,000 subscribers. You know, I was getting millions of views or average thousands of views. And I realized people were looking at me different because, okay, I actually see he's someone that can build something and someone who is disciplined enough to pursue a goal. But whenever I was like back in that state of mind of like kind of just living day by day, I realized people's respect kind of disappeared. Really, the message of this video that I'm trying to get across is, if you want respect, you got to earn respect. And that involves getting in shape, getting your money right, pursuing a goal, accomplishing something, having respect for yourself, and setting the standard for yourself that other people have to respect towards you. For example, my mentor, he dresses nice. He's always in like a nice suit, got a nice hat. Like he carries himself with respect. And I was with him recently, and I see how people responded to him because of the respect he had for himself. He never looks like raggedy. He always has a nice suit on. He always looks presentable. He talks in a manner that demands respect. And I see how people respect him, and I'm like, wow, you know, that's what men should be doing. If you set a high standard for yourself, other people have to comply with that high standard. But if you just live any kind of way, then you can't be upset by how people perceive you. So I think for men, if you want respect, you got to get respect. And that goes by accomplishing something and setting standards for yourself. If you got this far in the video, just give me a like because you're already here. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content. I'm going to be posting out more videos. But man, thank you for being here. Leave a comment below. I would love to get your thoughts on the subject matter. On the screen, YouTube will recommend other videos for you to watch. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.